Hi, my name is Ryan Gregg, and I'm a Principal Program Manager for the OneDrive SharePoint Developer Platform team. Today I'm here to talk to you about the new OneDrive Webhooks functionality that we're releasing at the Build conference. Now, Webhooks give you the ability to be notified automatically from the OneDrive service anytime changes occur inside a user's OneDrive. And this is great for applications that want to keep track of what's going on in a OneDrive or respond in near real time to changes that are happening inside a user's drive. Now, the way that it works is sort of a 4-point system. The first thing that you need to do is create a subscription for the user's OneDrive that you're interested in monitoring for changes. When you do that, you make an API call to register a new subscription on the service. The second thing that happens then is we'll notify your endpoint that you have provided and say, here's the validation token, make sure that the endpoint is appropriate for receiving webhooks. After that, everything is set up and the subscription exists. Then as changes are made through the OneDrive website, through OneDrive apps, or through other applications interacting with OneDrive content, then a notification is sent to your webhook URL. And that notification includes information about which drive contains the change that has triggered the notification. From there, you can use the OneDrive API either to enumerate the changes in a particular drive using view.delta, or you can do a get on the directory that contains the content that you care about to find out what has changed. Within the subscriptions API, you can easily create, read, and delete the subscriptions that are there by making simple API calls to the subscriptions collection. When you want to create a new subscription, you provide the notification URL and an expiration date time property that indicate what the URL is that we should notify and how long that subscription remains active. We currently have a 90-day limitation for how long a subscription can maintain its state, but you can renew that subscription at any time. As also the endpoint validation that I mentioned before, when you first create a new subscription, we will post to the URL you provide with a validation token that you return back to our service to make sure that you aren't using the webhook function to spam random websites. Now, to really sort of show you how all of this works, I've prepared a demo, and we'll go into the code and actually show you how to build a webhook using ASP.NET MVC. So here we have an ASP.NET MVC example application that has integrated with the different authentication platforms that are required to connect to the OneDrive API. And inside here, I'll show you two different controllers that we have created that are the bulk of the logic for webhooks. The subscription controller is where the hard work of creating and deleting subscriptions exists. And we create a new action in here called create subscription, which is called by our website to actually go ahead and provision a new subscription. And so in this case, we're going to use the app folder concept that the OneDrive API provides to create a location that we want to be notified about. So we'll enumerate the contents or enumerate the app folder by using the OneDrive SDK, and then we'll create a new subscription providing our notification URL and some client state. And client state is really any string content that you want that you can use to validate that the request came from your application. And then because the OneDrive SDK doesn't support subscriptions natively yet, we actually use this base request class of the OneDrive SDK to call drive/root/subscriptions and provide the new subscription object that we have created. When that is successful, we get back a new subscription object and we parse the subscription ID out of that and use that subscription ID to filter subscriptions for this particular user. So we save it onto the user object. Likewise, deleting a subscription is very easy as well. Once we have a subscription ID, we can call drive root subscriptions and that subscription ID with a delete option, delete method, and go ahead and delete that subscription when we're all done. The other thing that we do in this application is create a notification controller. The notification controller is actually what is listening to the response from the webhook. So the first thing that we have to do is respond to the validation request, in which case there's a query string parameter named validation token that contains a random set of characters. The rule is that you need to return that random set of characters back as a plain text response. And so we do that very simply when we see it. To actually handle the notification itself, first we parse the JSON message that is posted to our service, and then assuming that there are notifications in it, we process these notifications asynchronously. And what we do there is we loop through the notifications that we were provided, make sure that the subscription ID that was provided to us by the service is a valid subscription that we have, and then run some code to actually process the changes on the service. And in this particular sample application, what we are doing is just enumerating the files via a GET request. So we do client.drive to the app folder, and then get the children of that folder. And then we loop over the children in that folder just to see what files are there and if any files have changed. In a more complete solution, you could use the view.delta API that's part of OneDrive API to actually enumerate a specific list of changes from the service. And then using ASP.NET SignalR, we will send a notification out to the website that we have built here. So we will run the sample application. And here's the authentication that I was talking about. You can sign in to OneDrive Personal or OneDrive for Business. In this case, I'll show you OneDrive Personal first. And I'm already signed in, so I didn't have to authorize, but if I hadn't, then I would be prompted to authorize, and we'll click Create Subscription, which calls that Create Subscription method that we saw earlier. This will go out to the service and create a new subscription for my drive. And you can see here's the resource that it subscribed on, and here's the subscription ID the service provided for me. And now I'll click Watch for Notifications, and this page uses SignalR, as I mentioned before, to show me what's going on the given webhook endpoint. So on the left side, I'll put my application, and on the right side, I will put the OneDrive website, and I will go create a new file here, just a plain text document. And I'll name it Hello to Build. And when I click Create, you'll see that OneDrive is creating the hello-to-build.txt file, and it will open it in an editor. And over here on the left side, you can see I received a webhook notification that a new file was created, and by enumerating the changes in the folder, I was able to see that hello-to-build.txt was the file that had been created. Now if I edit this document and click Save, you'll see it says saving changes to the file, and then over here, in a few seconds, we receive the webhook notification, and again, it says that the file hello-to-build changed. Now, all of this is available today as a generally available feature for OneDrive Personal. The same functionality exists for OneDrive for Business, and I'll show you that, but it is not yet available broadly. We're releasing it in preview by the end of April, and then it will be generally available later on in the year. Again, on OneDrive for Business, same exact flow, same exact code that's happening. I can watch for notifications on this side, and you'll see if I go over here to my OneDrive for Business folder, and I create a new file, or a new folder here. Actually, I'm going to upload a file. You'll see that I upload the file, a new file is created. So now on this side, I am watching for the notifications coming from OneDrive for Business. Over here, I will upload a new file, and you'll see that the file got created, and then a notification will be delivered on the service from OneDrive for Business. And here comes that notification, and again, you can see the file changed was this readme.txt file that got created. So that's a demo of using webhooks on both OneDrive Personal and OneDrive for Business. Generally speaking, the OneDrive Personal functionality is now generally available, and we're really excited for everybody to start using it in their production applications. The same functionality is starting to roll out in a preview capability to OneDrive for Business now, and will be available in all tenants by the end of April. And it will be generally available later on in the year. We're really excited about this new webhook functionality, and we think it's going to make it much easier to build applications that respond in near real time to changes that happen in OneDrive. And we really are excited to get everybody out there and building on top of this new capability. Be sure to check out dev.onedrive.com for more information about using webhooks and the rest of the OneDrive API, and visit us on GitHub at github.com/OneDrive for all of the sample code that we've shown you today and all of our API documentation as well. You can also find us on Stack Overflow and on Twitter at OneDriveDev. And be sure to look at dev.office.com for all of the information about working with Office 365 data. Thank you, and happy building.